I've talked about the two-factor authentication abuse problem for so long, and many have attacked me saying that I'm promoting unsafe cybersecurity practices. 2FA, they say, is important for security. That may be true until certain companies started abusing 2FA. 2FA is when a platform requires that you provide a phone number and email to validate your identity in addition to your password. I've talked about this for a very long time now. In fact, before I even started posting on YouTube, and I was talking about the biggest culprit of all in this, and likely the first to abuse 2FA, which was Zuckbook. Fortunately, Zuck does not like to get sued, so now all the spying stuff that Zuckbook does together with WhatsApp and Instagram are stated clearly in the Meta terms of use and privacy policies. So today you're going to learn in Zuck's own words what the privacy threat is for two-factor authentication. Next time I get attacked for teaching you the correct things, I will refer you back to videos like this that says, "I told you so." Now fortunately, 2FA may die soon, and I'll explain that too later in this video. Do you want to fully understand the 2FA threat? We will look at the statements made by Instagram as an example. Stay right there. Like I said, the fortunate thing is that the legal team at Zuckbook makes sure that all the sneaky tricks done by Zuck's platforms are all stated clearly in their terms of service and privacy policies. Their hope, of course, is that no one will read it or that you get so used to it that you start not to care. That worked, of course. Nobody cares. Except that the 2FA problem, or the privacy invading features of Zuckbook platforms, are actually impacting non-users. It's been a decade ago now that I had set up a test Facebook account with no friends and no posts, and suddenly my recommended list of friends showed people I actually knew. I knew the exact reason, of course. I made a mistake in using an email address that I use for testing in a social setting. I could have made the same mistake using a 2FA phone number as well. But 10 years ago, Facebook did not require 2FA phone numbers. When they began requiring it, I deleted my test accounts. The main problem with 2FA is that certain companies, like the Meta platforms and Google, collect contact lists. Many platforms collect data from contact lists, and it's a big negative for me. Even platforms you think are safe, like Signal and Telegram, collects contact lists. An early extreme user of contact lists was LinkedIn, though it was mostly focused on email. And that was before 2FA. Google collects the contact list in multiple ways, but the biggest and non-obvious way is just via Gmail. Obviously, any party you've ever sent an email to is cross-linked by Google into a contact list. Or more accurately, I call it a relationship map. They know who you know, and they know who the people you know. From an intelligence point of view, this is massive data. You can connect anyone in the world just by emails. Similarly, phone contact lists can do the same thing. You can connect people based on who they call, and that is clearly available based on your contact list. Now, carriers already know who talks to whom on the phone, and this is collected by law enforcement and intelligence agencies. This used to be part of the NSA PRISM program. This is also now collected by the FBI in the DCSNet database. And this data is also widely accessible to law enforcement via the CALEA law, point-and-click access. The difference, though, is that this data is in the hands of private big tech companies today. Companies like Google and Meta have massive directories that can identify everyone by phone numbers and emails, or both, with other supporting data like IP addresses. All supplied willingly by unaware people sharing their contact lists. And this is ongoing, by the way. It is not a one-time upload. Daily, in fact. Just so you can visualize this better, I will post the actual policy shown on Instagram. When you sign up to Instagram, they actually show you information about non-users. Meta Platforms processes your name, mobile phone number, and or your email address if we receive it from our users through the contact uploading or contact syncing feature available on Facebook, Messenger, or Instagram. We process this information even if you are not a user of Facebook, Messenger, or Instagram and or don't have an account with us, a non-user. When a user uses contact uploading and grants us access to their device's address book, we will access and upload the names, phone numbers, and email addresses in their address book on a daily basis to our servers, including those of both users of Facebook, Messenger, and or Instagram, and other contacts who are not users or don't have an account, i.e. non-users. Here's some more detail on contact list uploading, which Meta does on all its platforms, including WhatsApp. We process the names, phone numbers, and or email addresses in the address book to see if any of the numbers or email addresses belong to users. You can see that third paragraph that allows Meta to actually use the data to track user suspicious activity or for business intelligence and analytics. So you already learned that there are massive contact lists, or really relationship directories, in the possession of many big tech platforms. The problem, as you will realize, is the helplessness of those of us into privacy. You see, you have no control over this. It is your friends and contacts that are uploading contact lists, not you. So you may be privacy aware and never do things like give permissions for access to contact lists, but some people just never learn and don't care. In my case, in my family, the biggest culprit is my sister, who is big on using Instagram and Zuckbook. Let me explain this more clearly as far as the everyday impact of these contact lists on 2FA. Certain companies are now requiring that 2FA be a phone number. Meta, of course, is one, and Google is another. These two are the absolute worst, because they don't give you a choice. In fact, Google even went further by demanding that YouTube creators have an actual Google app in addition to a phone number, so the surveillance can extend to the mobile device. Here's the issue in the Google example. Your Google ID is, of course, a Gmail address, so Google can already check their contact list to see who this Gmail address has been talking to. Then they forcibly push you to give them a phone number. This, of course, creates a further database of matching info, since they can then connect email addresses to phone numbers. And then you have a very deep surveillance of who's connected to whom. In case you forgot, the requirement to have a mobile device also means that a location is tied to these identities and are stored in what they call the Google Sensor Vault. This vault is used for sharing information with law enforcement, and I'm sure with intelligence agencies as well. So if you're shooting for some sort of social media anonymity, they make it practically impossible for those not doing the requisite planning. The desire to have social media anonymity is not some evil intent. It is just a standard privacy need by many people. Being pseudo-anonymous means you feel safe about posting content without fear of someone trying to identify you with a malicious intent because they don't like what you're saying. Something I'm very used to. I'm always being attacked. So if you don't try to understand what data big tech has, doing things like setting up multiple accounts on Google or zucking Meta will not accomplish anything and just get you flagged as being suspicious. It's not dissimilar to what some of us experience when using a VPN. Certain platforms and apps ban users who use a VPN. The assumption is that if you're using a VPN, you have something to hide, so we won't let you. Similarly, platforms like Google and Meta will not let you set up an account until they clearly know who you are based on your relationships to people in the real world. These relationships also lock you into ethnic, religious, and even political identification just based on who you know. If you have instinctual beliefs in privacy, this will automatically rub you the wrong way. So, how do we deal with this? I've had a long-standing policy of partitioning my activity on the internet based on separate identities. Now, I include my phone activity in that as well. But towards the end of 2023, my approach will be changing. First, let me explain my current methods. I'm always cognizant of which email addresses are known to my contacts and which ones are not known. Similarly, I have the same base understanding that my main phone number is known to certain people. Given this knowledge, I have a particular implementation strategy. Email addresses for business are separate from personal. Personal email is used only for personal email and nothing else. But I always use a different email address for signing into any online platform, something that I do not use for anything else and certainly not with contacts. For example, my YouTube Gmail is used only for YouTube. It is important that it never appear in any contact list, or if it does, that the connection does not matter. You could use the same email for all online platforms and apps, as long as you never actually use it to email people you are really associated with. If someone spams you on these email addresses, it doesn't matter and it would actually aid in disinformation since it doesn't connect to real contacts. By the way, we offer an email service called Braxmail and you automatically get 5 domains. Since the primary use of platform logins is for receiving notifications, there's normally no need to respond back on these kinds of platforms with a different email address. Having 5 domains gives you the ability to assign some for social media use, though everything actually arrives in a single inbox. The emails you send also get stripped of any metadata identifying the sender through such things as an IP address. You could also have used Gmail anonymously in the past for anonymous platform logins. However, with phone numbers being required for 2FA, that defeats the purpose. Now, my second line of defense currently is with the phone number. I use a second number for 2FA. I happen to have a Brax2D Google phone which has 2 SIM slots. My second SIM slot uses a phone number that no one uses. In my case, I use a cheap plan like Red Pocket, and I can use it for 2FA for $60 a year. I can safely use this phone number on several platforms that require 2FA as long as the phone number does not appear on any contact list of anyone I know. It may be someone's old phone number and may have appeared on someone else's contact list. Someone you don't know. That's a good thing. That is disinformation. So to apply this to Google and Meta, let's say I now set up a brand new account with a new email address on Google and Meta, I can use this new phone number. And in the case of Meta, I use both the phone number and a new email. This means that Meta and Google cannot positively identify me. Now, it doesn't end here since, of course, both Google and Meta actively track locations, IP addresses, and internet activity, and that can be matched to other accounts you are using. So additional steps like a VPN and a de-Googled phone to hide location would close some of these holes. But at least now you have a chance for some privacy. Before the deck was stacked against you. As I said earlier, this is my current strategy and that this strategy will change in late 2023. Let me explain. Starting in the fall, Apple, Microsoft, and Google will be implementing FIDO passkey technology in their operating systems. This is the first step, the operating system. Later, apps will follow. What passkeys do is validates your identity by having a stored private key on your device that has been validated by the platform. So simply having the private key on the device will ensure your identity is known to the platform. This is without using two-factor authentication. At some point, you can disconnect the phone number from your account since there will be no need for it if you have the private key for the passkey. There may also be hardware solutions for storing this. When this tech becomes available later in 2023, I recommend that you use it, but specifically to start eliminating the 2FA in exchange for this passkey. If the OS still requires 2FA the usual way, even with a passkey, then of course this feature is useless. It is useful only if the platform allows the 2FA methods to be discarded. This is at least the intent of the FIDO Association that created the standard for passkeys. So yes, 2FA may go extinct like the dodo bird, and I will be very happy when that happens. Again, look for clues. If the platform is still asking for a phone number, then we are being faked. If Google still requires that you have a Google app in a mobile phone, then we are being faked. If we are being faked, I would stick to my old system. Now, even with 2FA being eliminated, possibly for phone numbers, the email problem remains the same. So having new emails for social media use is still something that will be needed in the long run. Anyway, I hope I explained this contactless problem in a very simple way. Folks, my company creates products that are intended to protect our privacy. We provide phones that have no centralized control and are invisible to big tech. Our most popular device is the Brax 2 phone, running Brax OS. We also have Pixel phones that have Google removed. They are called de-Googled phones. We have a VPN service, Bytes VPN, which is a stealth VPN in that it doesn't scream that you're on a VPN. We do not put thousands of you on a single server. We have Braxmail, which gives you many domains for privacy and eliminates the metadata from your emails. This means no IP addresses and traces on your email that show where it came from. All these products are on the store on my app, BraxMe. Come visit us there. The link is in the description. Thank you for watching and see you again soon.